Welcome. Deborah Leanne here. And today is about authentic balance. And it's a funny topic for me. I have been up since about 3:30, not on purpose. It was raining and the birds were really active. I don't know if they were confused because the weather, but they thought it was morning and decided that they were going to sing and play and be loud. And it was so enjoyable. And I thought it was actually close to dawn. So I started going through my day and planning, and I'm leaving town tomorrow, all of the to-dos, and something came to mind, and I thought I've been really good about this taking inspired action lately. So I thought, okay, that ledger came to mind. It came up in a conversation with somebody. I think I'm going to go find this old financial ledger that I used to use back in the paper days of tracking finances. And I got up to go look for it in my office. And I looked at my phone and I saw the time. And a part of me was like, you can't just, it's too early. You need to go back to bed. You've got this full day. You don't operate well without sleep. All of the inner judgments around this. And I thought, I'm just going to go see if I can't put my hands on the ledger. I think I know where it is. And as I did so, I started cleaning a couple things up that were on the floor in my office, part of a spring cleaning project, and realized that I still did have time to go back to sleep. So after getting a few things done, I headed back and got into bed. And then my mind kept going. What else do I need to do? And who do I need to connect with? And I wonder if it'll stop raining so I can get out and get a walk this morning. And where will I find time to exercise if I don't do it first thing? And all of the busyness kept me from the rest that my part of me thought I needed. So it was actually a really good time for me to look at how I balance or don't balance and what's in the way of that. And when do I get up and listen to what spirit or my ego or my brain is nudging me to go do? Because sometimes that does take me on a what do you call it? Where you're on where you follow the markers and see what you can find, like a hide and seek game. And there's always the most fascinating things to discover in these, following the little pebbles and just being open to what kind of discovery, what kind of answers, what kind of inspired connection will show up. I'm learning to trust that more and more without knowing the ultimate final destination, and just trusting that if I keep moving forward on that step every day, it's taking me somewhere new, somewhere that I may not have chosen to go if I used my linear and literal mind. So let's get back to balance a little bit. I jumped right in with that, and I would like to show you a couple of ways that I start my day typically that is in honor and in calling in all of my wisdom from both inner and outer. I call it the 7 directions. And by getting up and looking out at the morning sky, whether there's light in it or not, I begin by really noticing all the beauty of nature and the mystery and the universe and all that is, and seeing my place and my connection to it. Um, Breathing it in and feeling it on my skin helps me to ground into my body. There's several prayers and exercises I do. One of them actually where I lean forward and touch the ground, and I love that feeling my hamstrings stretching, feeling my hands flat on the floor, noticing the tweaks in my back and neck and arms as I stretch my body in this way. And then I honor my heart, opening my heart wide, imagining the huge ball of light that's in that space, and really opening and allowing it to shine from the inside out. Connecting in that way to all that is, as well as to all of my inner energy spaces within my body, this physical body. And I continue working through my mind, allowing it to know how grateful I am for the constant reminder of my intellect and how much wisdom is carried in that space. I additionally then open to divine guidance and really try to listen to that still, quiet voice within. And typically by just moving and being still and looking outside and breathing, there will be some messages that will come through, and sometimes there's nothing. And being open to whatever that is. The other part that I do that I feel like is really important for me is to then call in all of my connection to all that is. Grounding into the electromagnetic center of this beautiful earth that we live on. Feeling the gravity holding me and supporting me. And then also calling in all of the seen and unseen of my allies, my support, my ancestors, my angels and guides, and all of the human support system that's in place for me. Giving thanks for them and letting them know that I am open to receive from them as well. We are divine and we're also physical. And every time we remember to balance that within ourselves, it's in support of us being the best and most and real and authentic, and our life being a translation of that, of how we are connected. People can see it and people can feel it from us. How this translates into our physical space, into our connections with others, balance is a huge thing. And it's a big topic right now. There's whole conferences around work-life balance and balancing our budgets, balancing our doing and being, balancing our family and career. And I don't think there's any one size fits all. And I really get upset when I see people trying to squeeze themselves into somebody else's model without really knowing what's right for them. And there's this balancing of my introvert and extrovert self, right? The extrovert that loves going out and being with people and connecting and talking about leadership and culture. I had an amazing lunch yesterday with a woman who does a lot of work in the corporate culture work right now. And we talked about the various tools that we use and how to allow those to deepen the conversation with these leaders and organizations and their teams. And then I come home and I need a break. I need to go inward and recharge, just like you have to charge your phone by plugging it into a wall, right? And that's me. I need to come home into my space. And when my space is reflective of the sacred, honoring, replenishing space that it can be, it's perfect. It really doesn't take long to tap back into the energy of this space and fill myself back up. And I'm finding that I have an old phone charger. And because I've continued with Samsung for 10 years, it still works, it still fits, unlike a lot of the iPhone chargers that change. But it is such a slow charging system versus the newer one that, I can charge my phone up in an hour. And that's the difference for me when my house is clean and clear and the essential oils are diffusing their magic into my space and I've got a candle lit with intention and a cup of tea or coffee in place. Then I feel that I can charge up faster. When my space is filled with, 12 pairs of shoes by the front door and giveaway boxes to take to a donation place and piles of books from all the different meetings and trainings I've been to and papers lining the steps to be taken upstairs to file, then it's not as conducive. And I know that. And I wait until it gets to the place where it's literally almost like somebody banging on the door saying, please, please, clean this space up. And then I can do it. So this morning, one of the things that came to mind, besides the looking for that ledger, which I didn't find, by the way, I'm really wondering if I still have it. I'm going to look one more space. But it was clear that when I came downstairs that this smudged dining room table was driving me nuts. I have this beautiful glass-topped table, and I have these beautiful also new cleaning cloths that I got from Norwex. I'll put a link in the newsletter for those of you who are on my newsletter to tell you how to find those if you are interested. And you don't need any cleaning supplies, which I love about these cloths, because I'm not a chemical cleaning supply kind of person. And they are the cleanest my tables have ever been because there's no leftover residue from cleaning supply. And they just sparkle and they stay clean longer because there's less of that stuff to attract the dust and dirt. So it had been a couple months since the last time the table had been really shined up and beautiful. And there had been some smudges and some rings from, bowls of food put on the table and things like that. So it had been bothering me the last week or two. And that is a key sign that when something is niggling and you notice it and you don't do anything about it, that tolerating something that needs to be addressed. And I'm going to ask you where that is showing up for you in your life. Is there something that needs to be cleaned up? A conversation, perhaps? Is there something that really drives you crazy that you have not mentioned to a coworker or to your love or a friend? When it starts to wear away at you without you addressing it, I feel that is a part of us that we are neglecting, and it keeps us from staying in balance and in our wholeness and our holiness. So looking at where you're tolerating, looking at what might need a little bit of spiffing up or rearranging just to shake up the energy of the space, what needs to be shaken out. These beautiful spring days are ideal to shake the rugs out and pound the pillows and vacuum the furniture. And I have slip covers on my couch that could use a washing as well. And each of those little things changes the energy in the space. And right now, I feel that we are all hungry and craving and yearning for that space that feeds us, that takes care of us, that provides solace as well as mine provides solitude. Yours may not, but I do have, my home is typically where I am in the space of being alone. And I am curious also, what are your spring cleaning practices? Do you do them just because it's spring and it's the habit that you were trained as a child? Or do you do that because of the energy release to make way for what new is coming? To make way for who you are becoming. This is key. We're all growing and evolving, and I see such huge changes on the threshold that we're all standing there. And part of what would support us in this, some might call it fear, some might call it anxiety, some might call it anticipation or excitement, but this fear of moving to the next place, it could be so much better supported when our physical space honors it as well. When we prepare, just like we would for when we're going to be hosting people to our house, what if we prepared our home to host who we are becoming? And know that your balance of emotions and relations and intellect and career and your physical body and its needs and wants and desires, and your spiritual self-nurturing, each of those needs attention every day. And they may not all get the same amount of attention, and that is fine. We don't take a 24-hour day and say, I'm going to give 4 hours to physical, 4 hours to this, 4 hours to that. That wouldn't work. We need, 8 hours, presumably, to sleep well and to eat well and to exercise well. You're going to add another hour or 2 or 3 on top of that. Spiritual self-care, wow. They say even 20 to 30 minutes a day of dropping into some type of meditation and being in the present moment, mindfulness, goes a long way. And relationships, how much time and energy do they take? So each of us has a different prescription for what is our balance. And it'll shift day to day. If we're starting a new business or we're jumping off on a new adventure, it's going to take a lot more attention. Maybe the relationship building, maybe the intellectual piece. And the next wave of that, as it gets up and running, you can resume a bigger shift in maybe self-care or in your spiritual, or so it's going to be in waves based on what else is going on. And the biggest thing is tuning in to seeing what you need. What is your space telling you? What is your body telling you? What are your relationships mirroring back to you? And mine are, as I look at the clock, I have a breakfast meeting with some really amazing women where we discuss serious community topics. Today is about race and homelessness and a couple things. And then I get to have another meeting after that with a spiritual and business partner. And then somewhere in here, I've got to get myself packed so I can leave tomorrow morning and fly to Colorado for the Art of Feminine Presence Intensive weekend. I'm so delighted to be an ambassador at that and to recharge my connection to these practices so that I can offer them to my coaching and academy clients that begin with me next week. If you have any questions on how to dive into this work further, or something comes up and you'd like to it spurs some desire to connect with me on some level, feel free to do so. You can find me on my Facebook page, Deborah Leanne Authentic Leadership Academy. You can also find me through email at Deborah at deborahleanne.com, or wherever this podcast has found you. You're welcome to comment there as well. Take excellent care of yourself. Look for and ask for what your body, heart, mind, and soul would like from you today. And when you respond, notice the beautiful response that you get back from whatever that part of you, because you will get back a message of, oh, thank you, I needed that. And let me give you so much more in return. We'd love to hear about that from you. Take excellent care, and I look forward to speaking to you next week. Bye-bye.